2014 Hot 6 GSL Season 1 Round 16 Classic vs. Squirtle.
I'm actually like racking my brain right now. I feel like Squirtle actually did a build just like this in Pro League, where he just made a ton of Void Rays in PvP and it didn't get scouted, and he just won the game. But I think on a map like that one, the Archons are just better because it just, I don't know. That was a weird game, but I feel like Archons do so well against Phoenixes. You can't pick them up. The Zealots on the ground make it so that Squirtle has to engage. He can't just like keep kiting back or something, because the Zealots are going to start killing his base.
Well, it seems like once you get 3 bases up and running with the gases, all the gas is taken, it seems to me that you're just in a position that now you have the Nexus cannons available, you have the Phoenixes there to defend, then you get this natural tech switch into Zealot Archon, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at that and I was like, okay, there's 14 Void Rays plus 4 more about to pop up against 5 Archons. You can't win the fight with the Archons, but with the Phoenix support, things change pretty quickly.
Do we know... What were the attack upgrades for Classic on the
Classic
Phoenixes?
had
+1?
No, I think he had no upgrades at all on the air, but he had +1 on the ground for his Archons.
You know what? That makes a lot of sense if he had no upgrades for the air, because he knows that his Phoenixes are not actually the damage dealers.
Yeah.
They're simply there as the batteries so that the other Phoenixes can't do what they need to do.
Yeah, it's true. You know, it's almost arguable that +1 armor could be good in that matchup too, since the Phoenix fires twice, so the armor would be applied twice, but... It's funny because this matchup, when it comes to Phoenix versus Phoenix, is definitely not completely figured out. It's the rarest PvP type.
Well, it's really funny when it starts up that they're both going Phoenixes, because then they're both stuck doing that for a while. I do think that if they're both going Phoenixes, defensive Phoenix play into what we saw Classic do, they're probably the best answer. By the way, we have our second gateway coming up here, and that is, what was that, 2 in gas? No, I'm sorry, that was 3 in gas for both sides.
He just put the Classic just put the 3 in right after that, so
okay, so I'm not crazy.
No, you're not crazy. That's how he got the extra gateway up faster with those extra minerals. Now he's going to scout that Squirtle only has 1 gate here in the main, but has mined significantly more gas, and probably just going to send that probe home. So he gets a good amount of information here. It's just a little bit of a safer build by Classic in every way. 2 gates going to help him against pressure. Also, he scouts with his probe. I like his chances here going to this start, but see what Squirtle has planned tech-wise. He's making a sentry right now, just to be safe.
It looks like Squirtle wants to try to get an expansion up here.
Yeah.
He's got a probe headed there now.
Sentry going to be pretty helpful at defending that expand, and Twilight Council goes up for Classic. We could definitely see some blink here.
Yeah, I think if he went for a blink build, that could be very strong against what Squirtle's doing. I don't think he's going to go for a DT build.
Yeah, pretty rare.
That much I'm confident about. He does have a lot of Chrono Boost stored up, by the way.
In Wings of Liberty, we saw players die all the time to DTs because, you know, players, quite frankly, weren't even as good back then as they are now. And even if somebody skips a robo, which in this case Squirtle is not, people are so good at force sealing the ramp with their sentries to keep the DTs out that it's just not really a problem.
It's almost like you're banking on your opponent making a mistake.
Yeah.
Even though it's pretty hard to call that a mistake that you didn't get a force field up against an invisible unit coming at you, but...
Well, it's like that's what you're relying on. It's almost like the old saying about the cross your fingers and stim up the ramp against sentries.
Oh, yeah, sure.
It's very similar. Not as blunt, I guess, but still, you're kind of relying on a mistake with this type of build.
And we got to see, is he going to go straight into Observers here? Because he doesn't know that DTs aren't coming. If he were to just chrono out Immortals, I think he would be in pretty good shape. Squirtle would be.
I mean, chance-wise, well, nice scout here by Classic. This is a good time for him. But if you think about the chances of DTs versus Stalkers, I think most people would go Immortal first here, but he decides to go Observer first, and he hasn't scouted anything, so I guess from his perspective, this is the safest way to go.
Sure. And we have 4 gates right now. The 4th one not finished yet here for Classic. Okay, so he has now his confirmation. He knows exactly what's going on. Seeing that chrono there on the Twilight Council. This is going to be tough. That Nexus has finished here for Squirtle on the low ground.
Good force field here. Blink is not quite ready. Even now, drops the Nexus count on the low ground.
Beautifully, you can just go around this. Blink is so close to finishing. And look at how this is going to time out. He's actually going to warp in 4 Stalkers here, and right when that's ready, he can blink up the ramp, or he could try to engage once again there by the Nexus once the cannon is finished.
Time warp is going to be really critical here too, because there's no blink for his opponent. Here we go. Needs to start targeting down these units. Time warp is really nice here. Can pick off those zealots, or at least attempt to. Doing a lot of damage here, and without that second immortal, it's a very tough push to hold, and he targets down the first one.
Blinking on top of that immortal. He's doing very good now, targeting down. Oh man, actually the spawn of that second immortal, that could be it for him.
Well, you know, he's doing okay here against the Stalkers. The immortal barely goes down to the Mothership Core. Now he's going to get away with his Stalkers, but he's lost a lot of momentum here.
Yeah, you know, I don't know if this is going to last much longer. Let's see. There is another immortal being chronoed out here.
Yeah, he's trying to get some damage done on this Nexus, and it's going to be tough for Squirtle to actually move down the ramp.
But I mean, let's say he even gets the Nexus. He doesn't have any tech here.
Yeah, he's not going to get it either. And once the second immortal pops out here, like the one that's going to be chronoed after this one that's about to pop out,
yeah,
I think this build is done. And he hasn't even started a Nexus.
I think Squirtle basically wins.
Seems that way. I mean, how can he make this work? He can't reinvent the wheel here. He just doesn't have enough units.
Yeah, I mean, unless he can, you know, I know that the Sentry's pretty good, but unless he can warp into Time Machine and go back to the start of this game, I don't know if there's much else he can really do here, Wolf.
Yeah, I mean, well said. He's actually even going to be able to deny this pylon, it looks like. He just lets the Zealots warp, and he's not even really concerned about them. That second immortal's about to pop out. Nexus Cannon's still active here. And Classic's warping, and Sentry's almost like he wants to block the ramp, but...
Well, he could. He could block the ramp and then jump into the main.
The Immortals are already down here, though, and he has to retreat. And the longer he waits, the more Squirtle's economy grows on 2 base here.
What was that warping in? Inside Classic's main?
I'm not sure, actually.
We had the production tab open.
I didn't quite catch that, but good micro here on the Immortal. Just kiting back, doing one shot at a time, tanking so much damage here, those Stalkers.
There's a possibility Classic taps out here.
Yeah.
I mean, this is...
There's no plan B here.
To the point of no return. Yeah, I mean, it's not like, you know, Classic just tries to get an expansion of LOL.
Yeah, that's game. He can't even blink forward. GG.
There we go.
Going to a game 3 here.
1-1. Squirtle still has a chance. I don't know if we're going to see Classic be aggressive like that again, at least in this best of 3.
Well, it was his map pick, and Squirtle shut him down, and now it's Squirtle's map pick. I feel like we're going to see a Frost pick out of Squirtle because of how well the big map went for him in game number 1. And Frost is like the next logical pick to make a bigger map, especially after he's had a successful defense against his opponent on one of our smaller maps.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense if he picked Frost. You never know, though.
You know, that was a kind of a sloppy build in general by Classic, I would say. He even like made a robo, then canceled it, trying to fake something, but it messed up his timing a little bit. Squirtle is even able to defend that really fast, all-in Blink Stalker push, making it an Observer before an Immortal. It just goes to show Classic's timing wasn't quite on par, I think, with what he wanted it to be, maybe.
It seemed like that Blink Stalker build might have even been simply put a reaction to what he saw his opponent going for.
Yeah,
and not actually a full-on premeditated all-in.
You could see that timing where he had like all the Stalkers on the Mothership Core warped in there, ready to go in the main, but his Blink just wasn't quite ready. It was like he just barely missed that timing he was trying to hit.
This is interesting. He's going to go for Heavy Rain. This game could look like our last game then.
Yeah, pretty good map for Blink. A bigger 2-player map, but still not a Frost, not an Ultrazine by any means. I wonder what his plan's going to be here.
Special build in store. Remember, for each of these players, this is a Protoss versus Protoss marathon. I mean, these guys are coming in with probably about a dozen different builds or more they could use here. You got to pick the right build for the right player on the right map.
And it's almost like you can only use each build on each map once or twice, because if you do it like 3 times, the other players who are watching are going to start to learn that.
You get solved, and then they've downloaded you.
Exactly.
All right, well, the game has now loaded up. It's going to be Classic against Squirtle here. It's going to be PvP all day, as this is the final group here, Group C in the round of 16. The winner here goes on to the winner's match for the GSL Code S.
Season 1, Round 16. Classic
what? They both passed each other. I'm talking over this intro because they're both proxying each other.